Hey everyone, I'm going to be going over some super helpful Photoshop tips and tricks with you today that will hopefully help you with your everyday workflow. I use these almost every day with mine, so I wanted to share and hopefully help everybody else as well. The first one I'm going to go over is the export as feature. In my opinion, it's one of the biggest helpers, especially with as many slides as we do every day. So instead of having to save for web for each slide, you can export as and then save them all at once, which is a huge help. So super simple, but one thing I want to note is make sure that your group name is what you want to have your file named as. So as you see here, I have my slide size and then the type of the name I have it. Um, and then from here you're going to just select, you can either select one or you can select all. You're going to right click and then click on export as, and this box is going to pop up. What's nice is because it shows you all the list of the slides that you're going to be saving out on this left side, shows you the file type, the canvas size, and the file size. You can change the file type over here as well as the file size. Just beware that anything below 60% drastically jeopardizes the quality of the image. I personally save everything at 100% and then go to tiny PNG to compress my files and save them that way. But once you have everything set here and everything you like how everything is, you can click on export all and another folder is going to pop up. What's nice about the export as is that whereas with save for web you have to go and hunt for the folder where you want them, wherever your PSD lives with the export as, it's going to automatically pop it up, and then you're going to select folder and then you're all set. So super simple. Um, and then you'll see here that they automatically popped up with that same group name that I labeled it as. The next thing I want to go over that's super helpful is duplicating layers. Um, Going over with the modular template, this will be super helpful that once you have your favorites set up, you can have your master open as well as your new file for whatever slide you're creating, and you can go in here and duplicating is, you can obviously old school just drag, click and drag over to the slide you want and drop it, or you can right click, say you want to do a bunch of them and I want to do, say, all of these. You can select as many as you'd like, right click and then duplicate layers, and then where it says destination and document, you're just going to click on the file where you want them all to go, and bam, it's all done. And obviously drag them to where you want them to go. Now once you have them in here and you decide you have everything how you like it, what I like to do is, another way for duplication, instead of having to recreate everything, you can obviously go up to the toolbar, but a shortcut would be Control and then J. It's going to automatically duplicate that whole group or whatever layer you have. Um, so that way, then you can go in and just change the name of the group that the next car or the vehicle you're working on, and then go in and change what you need. So overall, that is the duplicate groups or duplicating layers. Um, Super simple, but super helpful. The, the next function that's pretty helpful is the clipping masks. Every now and then you might get a request to have some glitter text, or you know you want to overlay something on the background or just in certain sections, without having to do a whole lot of extra work. I'm just going to go show you a quick little thing. We can go more in detail later if need be, but I'm just going to throw in a random background here, and as you see, originally it just automatically goes full and it's going over the back of the, over top of the floor, right? So even if I were to leave it there, what's nice is that, um, because I have in this instance, my floor is separate. Um, I'm going to hold down Alt, and you'll see this little box with the down arrow pop up, and that is going to be for your clipping mask. You just click on the line in between, and then it automatically pops down and covers over that section of my element that I choose to mask. You can also undo it the same way by holding down Alt if you're, into keyboard shortcuts. But if you want to do it the other way too, that you can always right click on that layer that you want to mask. Right click and then create clipping mask here, and it's going to do the same thing. Okay, so for my next little section that I want to cover is smart objects. Um, Not sure if everybody uses them, and you don't typically use it that often, but when you need to, it definitely comes in handy. Uh, for us, we come across it a lot with, we might get surface images or different vector backgrounds or anything like that, that whether you want to resize it or it happens to come with um, a different background where we want it to, have the be a PNG style with no background. This can be super helpful. So for this, just hypothetically, I'm just going to throw this picture of this battery I found in here. And obviously you can see that it's got the white background. Um, for me, the quickest way is you can right click on it and then click on convert to smart object. And that gives this little image guy here. You just click on it, double click on it. And then it brings up a whole nother separate window with that image, and it's a full size image, which is nice. So with the smart object feature, Photoshop preserves the quality of the image regardless of how small or big you make it on the other asset. As a smart object, it keeps that quality. So, with here, I would, do the select color range, do my shadows. Um, Using one of the features too here, I'm using the right bracket to make my selector bigger. Oops, undo that part. And I'm just going to go through here and make sure everything's done. I'm going to Control J to duplicate that and then hide that layer, and bam, it's done. I'm going to Control Save that and then just close that layer out up here, and then it automatically goes back to that previous asset. So now you have this battery without the background, and then you can resize it here as much as you want, and it's not going to jeopardize the quality. So that is using the Smart Objects feature. Okay, for this last little bit, I'm just going to be covering some random little keyboard shortcuts that I've come across and are super helpful to me. So hopefully they will help some of you guys. Um, Being a Mac person originally, I was super spoiled by my, touchpad to be able to zoom in and zoom out. So I was able to figure out that if you hold down Alt and use the scroll on your mouse, you can scroll in and out super quick and easy. And then depending on which way your mouse is, it's going to lean towards that direction instead of having, zooming in and you're not even close to where you really want to work. So there's that. Then we have merge layers. Sometimes you might be making a bunch of duplicates or edits, creating different assets or backgrounds. Merging is super simple. You can just hold Control E, and that's going to merge your layers there. Or you can always right click and merge layers there. Another feature obviously is most of us do know is grouping. Control G, that groups everything together. Super helpful. The next is Control T. So I'm going to go to our car here, and Control T, we can transform, and please, hopefully everybody always holds shift down when we are resizing our vehicles. But when you hold shift down, it keeps the dimensions and everything the right way. but Control T is for transforming an image or shape. Another little silly but kind of helpful feature at times is when I'm going through my color picker. Sometimes I'll be going back and forth between Illustrator and Photoshop, and you'll be wanting to color pick some colors. If you just hit the letter X, it swaps between the foreground and the background colors, so you can pick a lot easier if you have the color picker here. So I'm picking red, I hit the letter X, and now I can color pick here and go back and forth without having to individually take the time to click on each one. So little, but saves a little bit of time. The next little bit I was going to show you is how to show in layers except for the layer that is selected. So with this guy, so how everything is here, everything is on. Okay, if you hold down Alt and then with this one selected and I click on it, it now hides the other layers. And you can keep holding it down to go back and forth. It's kind of helpful if you want to see like the different backgrounds or whatever changes you might be making to see a before and after, different backgrounds for examples, whatnot. But yeah, if you hold down Alt, make sure whatever layer you have selected and then click on that eye, it's going to hide and show all the layers below that. And then a super feature, I'm actually going to go over here to our modular. One thing that we notice is, like, dang, we have a lot of groups, right? And as of right now, they are all open. So with these little arrows here, you're going to, if you want to just collapse the main groups all at once, you can just hold down Control and do that, and it's going to close that whole group automatically. But you'll see if you open it back up, all the inner groups are still open. Okay, so you close that and open it, those are still open. Now if I hold down Alt and click that again, it closes, but now all of my groups are closed. So again, you can go back and forth and now they're all open again. So Alt is to close all of the inner groups and layers, and then Control is to open up just the main groups. Like I said before, going back here, a little quick feature going down my list is increasing and decreasing your brush size. Whether you are doing the quick selection tool, the paintbrush, or anything like that, you've got your circle selector. If you do the left bracket on your keyboard, it makes it smaller, and the right side makes it bigger. Kind of helpful when you're trying to go through and not having to deal with the slider up top. And then also moving selections or shapes while you create them. If you hold down the space bar, it's really nice and it'll help and move along with you. So if you say for whatever you want to create a shape, and like if you just click and it's not necessarily center and it's going to stay at that pinpoint. But if you hold down the space bar, it then moves with you. So you can resize. If you let it go, then I can resize and move it to make sure it's the exact size I want it to, around my object or whatever I'm creating. So those are just a couple shortcuts, tips and tricks that we can use. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out.